Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Stacking Perpetrator here. This video, I've already done videos on this. I just laid them out on the set just to change it up a little. But we're going to do a what's in the box. What's in the box is where my LCS purchases go till I have a chance to film it for you. Then I determine if it goes in an album collection, in a box for my main stack, permanent stack, or if it goes in another box for future sell trade or upgrade for gold. If the GSR is in my favor, I have taken advantage of that in prior videos where I traded 128 ounces of my generic silver for some gold, and that was back in 2020. And then when my mom died recently, I said something in the video about that, and I wound up not because of that, but just because I saw an opportunity about a month ago, and I sold two of my $10 pre-33. Was an Indian and a princess coin that I had traded. I got those two gold coins with 64 ounces of silver. My cost on the silver was $15.67 an ounce. And when I sold the two gold coins, and that was, I timed that just right. That was just before our gold started plummeting. And because of the fact that the pre-33 had a numismatic premium on it, I wound up selling and basically slightly more than doubled my money. So I was glad I did that. I think that's something within the stacking community that got missed, because all the channels were talking through the past couple of years. You know, the thing that gets pushed is hold, long term. And even when I talked about trading and upgrading, you know, doing the GSR, even at 64 to 1, I mentioned it in a couple conversations, and people said I was crazy. There's no way they're not going to trade they're not going to do the GSR unless it drops to 40 or 45. Some people said 30. Some said they wouldn't trade. But you know what? When you're stacking, sometimes you got to sit back and you got to see what's going on, and sometimes you have to take advantage of the situation. And maybe not take all of your stack, but sometimes, like, that's why I have a box that I put stuff that is like pretty much the first to go if I ever decide to sell, or if I have to sell. I have silver put in certain area that if I need the money, that's the first to go. And then my what I call my permanent stack, that might be the next thing to go. And then when it comes to my album collection, of course I have my Eagle albums. I'm working on 12 dance codes and a Whitman for my version of a monster box and silver Eagles. My album collections, my numismatic collection, will be the last thing I ever sell. And that's where I think some people are to think about this and getting into some numismatics along with the stacking. I look at the numismatic side of things as that is my long-term, my extreme long-term hold is my numismatics. And like my Morgan collection and my piece dollar collection, my main set, I have a secondary piece dollar set, and then I have a Morgan year set. You've seen my videos. If it got to the point where I was selling numismatics, then the secondary piece set, that Morgan date, just a year only set, those will be first on the chopping block, so that I don't have to get into my main Morgan collection that is year and mint marks, because those are my true long-term plays. I do a lot of Benji albums, and the Benji albums are more to take away from the boredom. If I'm going to buy the Benjis, because the sets are so easy to put together, it's like, if I'm going to stack them anyways, why not build some sets? I do them in albums. I'm going to probably start tubing up some sets, and not all the Benji collections will actually be in albums. I'm not sure how I want to do that yet, because there is a cost with the albums. But it's fun to put the sets together takes up the boredom, gets me into my coins, gives me something to do. I can relax while I'm doing those, and it just makes things fun. If I have to start selling constitutional, I can pull those albums out. I can sell them as a set. If I can't get the money that a set should bring, I can always go through and pop the 48s, 49s, the 55s, the 56, the 54s. I can pop all those coins out, or maybe leave those in the album and pop all the other dates out that are just the common run of the mill. You can find them anywhere, and I could sell those as constitutional and start with my circulated sets first and work my way up to my BU sets as part of my selling strategy. And that still keeps me from having to tap into my main Littleton set, which is the best BU coin that I can get my hands on to make that collection. But something to think about, because I think some people it's so focused and everything out there is hold, don't ever sell, don't ever sell, don't ever sell. But I think, and I'm not a financial advisor, so don't take what I'm telling you as financial advice, but maybe give it some thought, because this is what I did. I looked at things and I'm like, 64 to 1, that was a pretty good trade. I got some pre-33 gold out of the deal. The other 64 ounces went towards I got my St. Gaudens pre-33 gold coin. I got that with 64 ounces of silver. And so if you base it on what I paid for the silver, 1567, I think, per ounce is what I calculated out of my actual cost for the silver I traded in. I was able to, when silver was bouncing up around 2000, high 1900, 2000, I was able to get my St. Gaudens for right at $1,000 or thereabouts. And so I'm money ahead. I just shifted my profit potential into the gold, and like I said, with my pre-33 $10 Indian and the $10 Princess, I did the trade back in May of 2020, and that was prior to me doing videos. But then I turned around just over a month ago and I sold those two coins and more than doubled my money. So now that silver has pulled back, I can take that original investment and the profits and reinvest into buying lower cost silver, since the premiums are coming down and the spot prices come down. So I can actually take that money and get back into the game and wind up having more silver or more coins for my collection. So let's take a look at what we got here. These are more on the numismatic side, but I do enjoy these. I don't think I'm going to start an album on these, but I do enjoy these Seated Liberty dimes. And this is 1849. I marked this. I know it's toned, but I went through and then I got these on the cheap too. I didn't pay book value, for these, so I'm actually money ahead on these. All these coins in the conditions. I have some G4s. I have one AG3. What I looked at, and I was being very generous. I'm not a coin grader, so I may be low on some of them, but on some of them, this may grade a little higher than XF, but I'm not a professional grader. It might only be a very fine, I don't know. But it's 1849. It is a Philadelphia. It is a very nice looking coin, even though it's toned. This is the Seated Liberty dime. So I got that one. And all these coins in their current condition that I have marked on here, they range anywhere from, like even this AG3 here, this is still a $20 coin, all the way up. Even this one cleaned is still a $20 coin in G4. and a couple of these are as much as $40 retail. If I went to a coin show or whatever, that's, you know, these are valued anywhere from $20 to $40. Here's an 1853. It has the arrows on either side of the date. Let me get the loop so you can see this. Bought these loose. I actually carded these up when I got in. The 1853. You can see the arrow to the left and the right of the date. That was signifies a weight change in the coin. Let's see if I can. That's 1853. This is a Philadelphia. More toned on the obverse than it is on the reverse. All the little denticles are present. It's got really good details. Liberty on the shield. I don't know if I can get that to show up. Liberty is legible on the shield. I don't know if you can see it. We got the 53. We got an 1870. Again, so this one has really good shield detail. You can see Liberty plainly there. All the little denticles are present. 1870. Some nice detail on the reverse. I do like these. This is the 1875S, and the S is above. They put the S above the elbow, the bow on the back, and then it's below. I'll show you that when I show the reverse. I marked this one as details. I'm not sure if it's just odd toning or what, but I marked it as details. It's definitely a fine 12. Now the S. The S on this coin is right there, and that is above the bow that's right here. And then if your S is down here, it's considered obviously below the bow, which is kind of obvious. So there are two varieties of this coin. So, but 1875S. This is 1876, and I was looking at the book wrong when I marked this. This is a Carson City. She is a little worn, 1876. But this is a desired coin in any condition because it is a CC. Let me see if I can loop it so you can see the, there you go. See the CC's down there right at the rim. The rim's kind of worn into those. I was looking at the book wrong. The 1870 I put, because I marked CC below the bow, but I was mistaken when I was looking in the book. The 1875 has two varieties. The CC's below the bow like it's here, and then above the bow would put the CC marks up here. So the 1875 has the CCs in both locations. 1876, it's below the bow, but I wrote that on there, and I was actually looking at the 1875 instead of the 1876. That's why I wrote that on there. But it's an AG3, but it still has collector value. So always happy to get a Carson City. Here's an 1886. I think I have this one undergraded, but I'd rather be under than over. I think it's because of the reverse. Then instead of like a fine 15, I dropped it to a fine 12. Still a nice looking coin. We got 1887. Called this one a fine 12 too, and I'm probably undergraded on it. Liberty shows real good on the shield. this. The shield detail is really good on this coin. All the denticles are, I think most of the denticles are present. This one is a Philadelphia, 1887. All right, I'm going to pause for a second. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze. Didn't think you wanted to hear the sneeze. We got an 1890. Shield detail, and Liberty is visible. Is a Philadelphia. A little worn on the back with the wreath and the rim, but still a nice looking coin. 1891. This, according to the definition, this is a G4 condition. 1891. It is a Philadelphia. I do enjoy these seated dimes. You don't see them that often, and when I can get a good deal on them, I do pick them up. And then there's another 1891. This one has been cleaned. I did note that on the flip. It is very reflective. You can tell a clean coin. It's just so reflective and smooth. It's just like the whole thing. There's no, when a coin's been, like this one's actually been like polished or what they call whizzed. And when you're looking at it in person, it's almost like there's no depth between the design and the field. I mean, you can see the outline and everything, but it's just, it looks much different than one that hasn't been cleaned. It just, you know what, some people don't like clean coins. I got such a good deal on it, I went ahead and, since I was getting the whole collection, kind of like threw this one in. So, but anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. Do you collect the seated dimes? Do you just buy them when they're in the actual junk bin and put them in the stack, or are you collecting these? I'm not so much in getting the higher grades. I mean, I do have a really nice example here. I'm going to examine my typeset. If this looks like an upgrade for the year, if this looks better than what I have in my typeset, I may consider swapping it out. I'm only interested in high grade, unless I get them on the cheap. The only reason I want a high grade is for my typeset. I'm not looking to put a set of high grade seated Liberty dimes together. I just like the design, and when I can get them on the cheap, I don't mind putting them in the stack or in the collection. This is something that down the road, these would be some of the ones I'd get rid of first. I would sell these off before I started selling some of my other collections. But it's just a fun little item. So let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you on another video.